Welcome.
Welcome everyone to See You Next Thursday. I'm Willow of Pixie Retreats.
I'm Tree.
And today we thought we might talk about the reclaiming of our personal power, kind of understanding and overcoming the ways that we give it away. So, do you want to start, or should I start by kind of defining what personal power actually is?
Yeah, what is it?
Well, personal power is the ability to influence our own life and the world around us based on our values and our beliefs and our actions. What do you think about that?
I think we have a lot of personal power.
You think we have a lot of personal power?
More than we give ourselves credit for.
Well, I mean, what it kind of says to me is that our personal power is basically whatever it is that we are projecting out there to the world. And so when I basically was saying that it has to do with our values and our beliefs and our actions, that really makes sense, don't you think? Because what it is we're projecting out there is usually based on our values, our beliefs, and then how we act upon those values and beliefs.
Well, it enables us to make choices, set boundaries.
Totally.
And also
Totally.
to assert ourselves in whatever our environment is, whether personal or professional. And so I think probably we're all working on this. Some of us have a healthier ego and sense of self-confidence, and so it might come more naturally. And others might struggle with that personal power and have been pushed down and, diminished in a way where they question or feel insecure about expressing and asserting themselves. But I think hopefully as we get older,
We get better at this.
naturally we break through those barriers.
Well, so what would you say? What's a common way of giving away your personal power?
Well, avoiding conflict. I've definitely done that in my history. Not quite as much these days, I would say. And what that's done for me is it's avoiding the conflict. It just basically just represses. And so rather than whatever the situation might be,
that it's like, so rather than you or rather than somebody actually dealing with something in the moment or head on, it's pushed down.
it's like unexpressed feelings and emotions
That come out in some other kind of a way.
Yeah.
That would be probably like a leaking of our energy.
Probably in a really inappropriate quotation way.
Okay.
A way that doesn't make sense,
Okay.
when it's unexpressed.
Right.
It
So then
comes out in
maybe-
a different setting on somebody else or in a different environment.
Or it's like it's too big of a response for what actually just happened. It's like taking taking a hammer to a gnat, where it's like, where maybe something not so big happens, but based on 3 other things that we weren't able to address the conflict, it now has been so repressed that some small thing happens and we completely lose it.
It's like shying away from disagreements to maintain harmony in a situation, and I don't understand how harmony can be maintained if, for example, I'm avoiding a situation, and then it's basically leaves it imbalanced in my mind. So
Yeah.
that's one way.
Okay, then another way is seeking external validation. And so, that would be like relying on what other people think of us, or constantly having to have other people affirming us in order to feel good about ourselves. And if we can't find ways, if we're constantly seeking outside of ourselves for validation or affirmation, then we tend to become dependent on those kinds of conditions instead of being able to either self-soothe or affirm our own selves. Be able to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, wow, that was a really good job, Willow. Instead of needing somebody else to do it for me. And I know that there are certain kinds of circumstances, like in the workplace, where certainly when we've done a good job, it's really nice to have that validation from whoever your superior is, or even your coworker. But I'm just saying, in the day-to-day, like needing your mate to tell you look good, or needing your parents to affirm that you're smart, or, constantly needing to call your friend to help you to, feel good about what you're going to wear on the date that you're going on next week. It's like what that can do is it kind of the impact that it has is we're never really relying on ourselves for that kind of lift. We're always looking on the outside rather than looking on the inside. Do you have anything that
Around the what you were talking about?
Yeah,
external validation.
There's a giant bee in here.
Maybe sometimes when we were running our business,
Yeah.
Wanting to have that. I mean, I felt that validation though every time I walked in the door. So I wasn't really actually. I didn't really. I'm the 12th of 13 in my family, so not that I like to use that moniker, but it is a reference point for me. Meaning I have 12 siblings, so I've always kind of learned independence and had to seek my own validation.
Yeah,
so
you're pretty good at that. I
Yeah.
don't feel like you
It's not really one of my
I mean,
issues.
for me, I went to so many schools growing up as a kid that I think for me, I oftentimes did seek that kind of external because I was always looking to just find my place.
Well, you were a cheerleader.
Well, right, and that's like
kind of
I
the
think
epitome.
that stuff is seeking the external.
Yeah.
I really do, and as I look
And that's a
back,
stereotype that I just made, but
it's a
I think
stereotype.
that I just made about. But I think there's something to it.
Yeah, I would agree. I would
Yeah.
agree with that. So, what's another one?
Allowing others to make decisions for you.
Mm-hmm.
And this is about letting others dictate our direction in life, speak for us, dictate our movements, anything. And I don't ever, and again, I've allowed for that to happen too. And I don't think that's a good mode of movement.
But it's not, I mean, none of these are bad. These are just things that, these are just things where we're giving our power away. Do we really want to do that? Or do we want to maintain our sovereignty?
Well, this is just stuff we're looking at. So,
Totally. Even personally.
yeah. And so it can lead to a sense of feeling unfulfilled or powerlessness,
Mm-hmm.
and erodes at autonomy. And so it's really important to use your voice, find your voice, and stand strong in it. And however long that takes to find your voice, to find your way. And it's nice to have other people to rely on and use as reference points and to bounce ideas off of. And at the same time, it's super valuable to trust our own selves and our own thought processes and our own modes of movement to know that we're doing just fine without needing somebody else to, guide us and direct us.
Yeah. I mean, another one is overcommitting or people pleasing. And this one is just, I have to say that it was something, it's one that I can personally attest to. And around my 35th year, I decided that I was going to spend that year saying no, because I was consistently saying yes to things that I didn't want to do. And then I would feel resentful. And then sometimes I would back out last minute, or I would do something and do it in a way that wasn't
Authentic.
It wasn't authentic, and it wasn't really pleasing for anybody. You know what I mean? When you feel like you're doing something out of obligation, it's one of those things. So I spent that full year learning how to say no and using no as a full sentence. And it was a really, really good thing. It really let me and helped me to start setting down resentment, because that's a bitter pill that only I was taking. You know what I mean? And it just really helped to start to take back some time that was mine. You know what I mean? And use that time more wisely. And then each time that I did commit to something, I did it with a different kind of vim and vigor. I did it with a different kind of attitude, which was pleasing to me and to people around me.
I do question that part of myself. That's something that's very ingrained in me also.
Is to people please?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then I
Or to overcommit?
well, more people, yes, probably both.
Well, they really do go hand in hand. It's like
And-
when we're people pleasing, we're oftentimes saying yes to things that we either personally don't have time for or we don't really even want to do.
But some of the people pleasing, though, some of the stuff that I do, I genuinely like to do it, and then it's when I think I question myself, am I doing this to people please, or is this just part of my nature? So that's something I haven't totally figured out yet.
Yeah. Well, and then I think one of the really big ones is self-doubt and negative self-talk. And, you know, that really looks like internalizing negative beliefs about ourselves or doubts about ourselves. And then that really tends to lead to this lack of self-confidence that, you know, it can be really paralyzing when we're constantly saying negative things to ourselves. It's like I can't say enough as a point of reference to read the Neville Johnston book, The Hidden Language Codes. It's like when we start really considering how we talk about ourselves and the stories that we're telling people about ourselves, it comes back to that thing that I was saying in the beginning. How do we want to project ourselves out into the world? Do we want to project ourselves in a place of empowerment, or do we want to project ourselves in a place of insecurity? You know what I mean? And I feel like every last one of these things that we've talked about also makes it's like it puts us in the position of being victim and to blame. And so we're not really ever taking full responsibility for who we are and the choices that we're making if we aren't really working on our self-empowerment.
Well, the negative self-talk, the self-doubt, the lack of worth, they can diminish self-empowerment.
Yeah.
And they can really take you down a spiral. And I know, because it happens, a spiral that can be hard to lift out of sometimes. And then you find yourself towards the bottom of the emotional guidance scale and trying to lift yourself up. And so, and also the inner dialogue, your inner beliefs. This is really just about your belief system, all of it. And that is what shapes your reality.
It is, for
your
sure.
Belief system, your desires, the way that you're thinking is your vibration, is what the universe is responding to and bringing you more of.
Yeah, so whatever we're talking about today, however we are projecting ourselves out into the world today, and however we're speaking about ourselves to ourselves and then to the world, it's what we're setting up for tomorrow. And then the next day, and then the next day.
Well, something really helpful to work on that I'm working on is affirmations.
Yeah, they're really good.
And starting your day and ending your day with them, or even somewhere in the middle too, throughout the day. Just saying things that are super powerful for your being, the best qualities of yourself, speaking in the now.
Yeah.
Whatever you're wanting, acting like it's happening. And so...
What do you mean when you say that? Like, whatever you want now, acting like it's happening?
So rather than saying, oh, I wish, I lived in Europe, I start picturing myself living in Europe. Oh, I wish please help me to get this off the ground, to, enjoy the wealth that's in my vortex. And I speak as if it's happening now. Thank you. I'm so happy and appreciative for all of the abundance and the wealth that I have and I experience on the day-to-day. I am so grateful to work for myself and to be a self-made millionaire. I love the abundance. I love
the freedom.
I love all of the opportunities and the paychecks coming my direction daily from unexpected resources. Just kind of talking in a way that makes it now and not further from now, and not in a place of lack, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
That's cool. I can get with that. So, what are some of the strategies? What are some strategies to reclaim our personal power? Like, what kinds of actionable kinds of steps can we take to, we just literally listed 5 different ways that we give our power away. What are 5 different ways that actually align with each one of these power giving away to taking it back?
Building self-awareness.
Okay.
And that can be through the affirmations, like I said. It can be journaling, it can be meditation, It can be just taking quiet time out for yourself to tap into your inner guidance system. setting boundaries.
Yeah, like I said, in my 35th year, learning to say no. It was really
Without guilt.
And well, it wasn't without guilt. You know what I mean? Because I was that was so ingrained in me to move that way, to be this, people pleaser, that it was really challenging. And the people that I had been pleasing for so long weren't happy with it either. So it really was. I really had to stick to my guns, and when I said no, I meant no. And the other really cool thing that I found was when I said no and then maybe I changed my mind later, I feel like people were more excited that I'd said no first and now I was saying yes later. It was almost like, I don't know, like it almost worked out better. It was really interesting. But that was a big deal. Setting boundaries was huge. It was huge.
So another one is taking ownership of your decisions. And making these decisions based on your goals and your values rather than external pressure, rather than like peer pressure, rather than family pressure,
rather than
business
feeling
pressure.
an obligation to having to do something. If it doesn't align with how you feel or what you believe you need to be doing or what I believe I need to be doing, then I shouldn't be doing it.
Well, if it doesn't feel good.
I shouldn't do it.
And if it does, then
do it.
Go for it.
Full throttle.
Facing conflicts constructively.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's developing resolution skills and finding ways to navigate potential disagreements and conflicts and doing it in a peaceful way.
Yeah.
And realizing maybe someone's approach, you don't like the way it's happening, but it's actually not really about you, it's about that person.
Exactly.
And what's about you, what's about me is how I respond and react to it.
Totally.
So I guess it's more responding versus reacting.
Oh my God, that's
listening,
like huge. That's,
listening.
Yeah, that's huge.
And then rather than quickly jumping on it in a way that responding or reacting in a way that doesn't feel good and triggers both parties, just sitting back and looking at how it's being presented and if it's really about you and how you choose to handle that, basically.
And then there's, the last thing is seeking support and finding resources, like if something is really deeply disturbing you, then, it might be a good idea to seek out some form of a therapy. I mean, been there, done that. Or some kind of a life coach or a mentor.
New practice.
Or what?
New practice.
Or some sort of a new practice. I mean, for me, I keep hitting my microphone. That's really the direction. Like, I think some really great action steps for reclaiming our personal power is to start a 3-minute a day meditation practice. Like starting something and meditating 3 minutes to 11 minutes, but starting at 3 minutes and just sitting down quietly for 3 minutes, maybe counting your breath, maybe doing a box breath, which is a 4-count breath, inhaling to the count of 4, holding your breath to the count of 4, exhaling to the count of 4, and then holding your breath again to the count of 4, and then beginning again. Or another really simple one. Are you going to say it? I know you are.
Oh, the 5
The quantum. Mm-hmm.
Inhale to 5, exhale to 5.
Yeah.
That's my go-to, and it just puts me in such a calming state.
Yeah.
Or just doing something different. Add some lemon water.
That's
Take a walk.
Exactly.
Go for a drive.
Call
lay
a friend
down and just.
That isn't going to go into complain mode with you or blame mode. Somebody who's uplifting. Listen to music. That's
Make
another
yourself
really good one.
A yummy snack. Whatever it is that
makes you
peaceful
feel
for
good.
you
Yeah.
and that gets you in the zone. Those are helpful ways to
But I think
reclaim your power.
3 really good ones, like 3 really, really good ones are literally the meditating and starting that for 21 days, because actually all of these things, it's like 21 days makes a new habit. It makes a new habit. So starting a 3-minute a day meditation practice, then maybe adding in lemon water. One healthy food thing, which I think lemon water is a simple one, and it's really good, and it always leads to other really great things. And then another one is to start some form of physical activity, whether it's a walk or a swim or a jog or riding your bike or roller skating or whatever floats your boat, getting some sort of physical exercise, because that kind of it's kind of the trifecta. And then also sleep, good sleep. The meditation, a new food practice, a new good healthy food thing. I think lemon water is great. And then some sort of physical activity. And then you were going to say sleep, I think.
Sleep, of course, and all of those things will contribute to good sleep. And I was also thinking that another way of giving power away is if you find yourself in a work environment, for example, and it's not working for you, and you hear yourself complaining to people about it all the time, it's probably time for you to leave that job.
Agreed.
And so often people say, well, I need to hang on to this until I find the next thing. Well, let go of it and allow for the new thing to come.
Because trust me, it's going to.
Without being in fear mode.
Yeah.
Because it always comes. The new things always comes.
Well, and if you're finding yourself in fear mode, honestly, sitting down and meditating, it's the only way you're going to change that in your being. If you're somebody who worries a lot, you have fear of the future or fear of something from the past coming back up to, to reclaim your life and play out again in some new set and setting, honestly, meditating 3 minutes every single day will quell all of this extraneous chatter that is going on, and you'll be able to maintain this level of a sense of security.
Well, we've been doing a lot of liver cleansing as well.
Yeah.
And for me, that really puts me in the zone because I'm releasing toxins, and it keeps me clear, and it keeps me focused on taking in really good things into my body. And so then every decision I make during that time is about supporting that cause, basically. And that's just one of the best things that I've been doing personally, along with everything Willow was talking about, that I know that it keeps me in the zone, and we talk about it a lot because it's just really powerful for me. And I'm sure for a lot of people.
I mean, if you gave any of these practices, and these are all practices, you know what I mean? Like, I haven't been a lemon water drinker my whole life. In fact, I didn't even like drinking water. It's so bad, but it's my truth, you know what I mean? And I wasn't a meditator until about 15 years ago. And I mean, maybe not even that long. It hasn't even been that long. It's been more, maybe, because I started meditating little bits here and there when I first started doing yoga. I mean, not when I first started, but probably about 5 years into it, 7 years into it. It's just, I feel like it's such a natural progression if you're somebody who does yoga. And these are all just practices. You have to practice something to get good at it. And I'm telling you that the meditation piece, I think, is the most crucial one, because it is the thing that begins to still that intense chatter that so many of us have in our minds and can kind of keep us in states of paralysis from moving forward, just constantly retelling our stories to ourselves and other people that aren't working for us.
And I met Willow almost 20 years ago. So I've definitely given a lot of my power away during that time because I was a lot younger. I was finding my way in transition, and I'm in the process of reclaiming that power, and I think it's created a little bit of murkiness along the way.
What do you mean?
Well, I think you're not used to it maybe, even though you know that I have it within me.
Oh, I think it's exciting. But again, it's what I was saying earlier in that 35th year of mine when I started saying no to people that were used to me saying yes. It does create a little bit of an off balance. It feels like things are off balance, but the truth is
you got to re-find your way.
Kind of. And each one of us, I mean, it's like I intrinsically knew that about you. Sure, it's felt certain ways to me at certain points, but to watch somebody grow is actually really exciting. It's actually exciting, even if I'm not necessarily getting what I got before. Mm-hmm. But what I was getting before, was I excited about it? I wasn't. When somebody's just constantly saying yes and doing things for you, you just begin to expect it, and then you begin to take it for granted. And I think now it's like I'm taking less for granted, and I think Teresa's happy because she's being more validated when she is stepping into these really cool, new, powerful pieces of herself. And we should all be doing that.
Well, our
we should all
job
be doing
in
that.
this life is to find our way, our own purpose.
Well, to know who we are.
And that's
Know
our main
thyself.
job.
Yeah.
And it's not to be defined by the job that we have or
The relationships that we're in,
no.
or the clothes that we wear, or the cars that we drive, or the job that we have, or the people that we hang out with. It's to know who we are as an individual, authentic being. And so this reclaiming of our personal power it's paramount. It's paramount in that.
Yeah, because it's gonna like I said, it's gonna upset some people.
For sure. Some people might
People that
shake
have
off.
known you beforehand and
Well,
or
and-
maybe have known you for a really long time.
And they think they know who you're going to be throughout time, but we're all going to change.
and they might want to still see you in that place. But, you know, we are an evolving species, so
Totally.
we got to make sure we keep our power. We got to hold it close and
Protect
and
the magic.
That's right.
Protect our personal magic. I don't want to spill this water all over myself, and it's so yummy and so lemony.
So that's pretty much our little blip on personal power.
Yeah. But we've been thinking about that this week, and we're kind of talking about it back and forth. And, you know, I would just say that it would be a really great idea if you recognize yourself in any of these ways that we give power away. If you recognize yourself in any of those, then, you know, maybe trying a little bit of meditating to clear your mind and setting some new intentions for yourself. Drinking some lemon water so you're flushing toxins out of your system.
Well, Bob Proctor was talking about how the Wright brothers, they had a vision of getting the planes up in the air. Everyone told them they couldn't do it.
Yep.
And then what were they up there for 14 seconds? Like, oh, they were only up there for 14 seconds, but really it's like, wow, we were up there for 14 seconds.
Exactly.
You know, and so any of these Einstein, Picasso, any of these major names you might know
Henry
that
Ford.
have made a difference in history. The point is that we all have this power within us, just like they do.
Yep.
They had a vision and a decision. They wanted to make something happen, and they worked towards making it happen, and they did. And so we all have that power. And so what is your personal power that you know that is in service and is in support of humankind, of the world, and
your highest growth.
and what can you do that can be of benefit to your fellow neighbor? Start doing it. Just see what happens, you know, and watch it unfold, and watch yourself rise to the occasion.
And be graceful with yourself. You know, if you decide that maybe you're somebody who avoids conflict and you would like to be better at that, then, you know, be kind with yourself, because this is a pattern. Like, you know, we find ourselves in these patterns, and I'm telling you, one of the quickest way to get out of your patterns and to get out of your own way is to meditate for 3 minutes every single day. Do it for 21 days, and I promise you, you're going to have a new experience. You're going to go into work with a different kind of an attitude, so that person that might overlook you, they're going to start to see you. Trust me, this is just what happens when we start to care for ourselves and start to value who we are. And then, you know, once we start to value who we are, then others value who we are.
So thanks for tuning in. To see you next Thursday.
Yeah.
And we will see you
Next
Next
Thursday. If you liked this video, please hit the like and subscribe button. It really does help us grow our channel. And peace out. We'll see you next Thursday.